The robbers shouted, "Everyone get down." The greeter looked at his watch and quietly said, 30 seconds. No one understood what he meant ... yet. Hello, welcome to the Hidden Stories. From which city are you watching this video today? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button and help keep these stories alive. It was a hot Tuesday afternoon in Texas. At the large supermarket on Memorial Drive in North Houston, the air conditioning hummed loudly as customers filled the aisles with their shopping carts. At the entrance sat Marcus "Tank" Thompson, 68 years old, gray-haired, always smiling African-American man. He had worked the same position for 15 years, customer greeter. He arrived every morning at 8, left every evening at 6, never took vacations, never complained. Tank's job was simple: greet incoming customers with "welcome," check receipts of those leaving, sometimes help find lost children. Ordinary, quiet, invisible work. Customers knew him, but no one made long conversations with him. "Hello, Tank," they'd say as they passed. He preferred it that way. Quiet, peaceful, trouble-free. Tank's uniform was always perfect. Red vest, white shirt, black pants. His name tag simply read, "Tank Customer Greeter." No rank, no special designation. This afternoon was like any other. As school dismissal time approached, the store began filling up. Mothers came shopping with their children. Elderly people picked up daily necessities. Workers stopped by quickly before shift changes. Tank sat at the door, greeting arrivals. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Welcome. Good day, sir." Words that were part of routine, mechanical but sincere. The clock showed 3:42. Tank looked at his watch. An old Casio with a plastic band, covered in scratches. 2 more hours until shift change. A normal day, a normal afternoon. Until a blue sedan speeding from the parking lot approached the store. What caught Tank's attention was the car's speed. It was going too fast in the parking lot, hadn't slowed down approaching the red zone. Professional drivers didn't behave like that. The car stopped suddenly. 3 men got out. Tank watched them, but his face showed no change. Only his eyes became slightly more alert. All 3 men were in their 20s. They wore hooded sweatshirts, hoods pulled up. An odd choice in Houston's heat. Their hands were in their pockets, eyes scanning the area. Tank's heart raced, but his face showed no change. He'd worked here for 15 years and recognized this type of behavior. But his real experience went much further back. As the 3 men approached the store, Tank could see them better. The one in front was older, maybe 25 to 26. The other 2 were young, looked nervous. They weren't taking their hands out of their pockets. "Good afternoon, gentlemen," said Tank in his usual calm voice. The man in front didn't even look at him. Went straight inside. The other 2 did the same. No response at all. Tank noted this. Not rudeness, concentration. They were focused on something. Tank slowly stood up. A casual movement, as if stretching his legs, but actually taking a better position. When he entered the store, he could see the 3 men. They weren't shopping, just observing their surroundings, locating security cameras, checking exit doors. Tank's mind began working. Training from 20 years ago was returning. Operational preparation, target identification, risk assessment. The man in front approached the register. The other 2 took positions in side aisles. This was a formation. Coordinated movement. Tank looked at his watch. 3:47. Police patrol would pass during shift change time. But that was still 2 hours away. Suddenly, the man in front pulled a gun from under his jacket. A shiny, nickel-plated pistol. He raised it and shouted, "Everybody get down. This is a robbery." The store erupted. Customers screamed, children began crying. Cashiers panicked, shopping carts toppled over. "Get on the ground now," shouted the second robber, also drawing his weapon. The third one locked the door and looked outside. They had secured their escape route. Everyone got down. Mothers tried to protect their children. Elderly people trembled with fear. Cashiers waited with hands up. But Tank ... Tank didn't get down. He calmly looked at his watch. It showed 3:48. 30 seconds, he said quietly. The voice was very low, but a customer lying nearby heard it. The man looked at him, not understanding what he meant. The lead robber noticed Tank. "Hey, OLD man," I sighed, "get down." Tank turned to him. There was no fear in his eyes, only deep calm. "I heard you," said Tank, his voice still calm. "Then why aren't you on the ground?" Tank looked at his watch again. 25 seconds. The robber was confused. What are you talking about?" Tank didn't answer, just waited. "Sir, please get down," whispered a woman beside him. "They have guns." "I know," said Tank calmly. 20 seconds. The lead robber walked toward Tank, pointed the gun at him. "Are you crazy, old man? Get down, or I'll shoot." Tank looked at him. In that look was 20 years of experience. SWAT operations, hostage situations, high-risk arrests. 15 seconds, said Tank. 15 seconds to what? The robber shouted. Tank smiled. A small, confident smile to back up a rival. At that moment, siren sounds began coming from outside. Distant, but approaching. The three robbers looked at each other. They were panicking. WHAT? How did you know? Tank slowly moved his hand to his pocket, very slowly, non-threatening. 10 seconds. He pulled out a small device from his pocket, an old model radio. Pressed the button. This is Tank Thompson, Unit 47. 3 armed suspects, south entrance secured. The robbers' mouths fell open. Stand by for tactical entry, came the response from the radio. Tank turned to them. The expression on his face had completely changed. The person he used to be was emerging. Gentlemen, he said calmly, I'd suggest you drop your weapons. Who the hell are you? The leader shouted. Marcus Thompson, retired SWAT commander, Houston Police Department. 20 years tactical operations. The siren sounds got much closer. They were coming to the store now. That's impossible. You're just a greeter. For the last 15 years, yes, but some skills don't rust. Tank took a step forward. His posture had changed. He was no longer greeter Tank, but Commander Thompson. You have 5 seconds to drop those weapons before my former unit comes through that door. Outside, tires screeching could be heard. Police vehicles were parking. The second robber panicked. Man, this wasn't supposed to happen. Drop the guns, said Tank, his voice now commanding. Now, the third robber began trembling. We need to run. Too late for that, said Tank. Buildings surrounded. The leader still had his gun pointed at Tank. You're bluffing, Tank smiled. Am I? At that moment, SWAT teams entered through the side door. Full gear, automatic weapons, coordinated movement. Houston police. Drop your weapons. The 3 robbers were helpless. They were surrounded. Tank looked at them one last time. I tried to give you the easy way. The second and third robbers dropped their weapons. Hands went up, but the leader was still resistant. This is crazy. You're just an old man. He approached Tank. Gun pointed at him. You're nothing. At that moment, Tank moved. 20 years of muscle memory kicked in. Before the robber could fire, Tank grabbed his wrist, turned the gun upward, bent. The man's elbow with his other hand got. In 2 seconds, the robber was on the ground. The gun was in Tank's hand. The SWAT teams watched in amazement. Holy shit, someone muttered. Tank? Tank stood up, secured the weapon. Evening, boys. Miss me? The team leader approached. Commander Thompson? Sir, what are you doing here? Working, said Tank with a smile. Same as always. SWAT members looked at each other. Their legendary commander, Tank Thompson, had been working here as a customer greeter for 15 years. Sir, said a young officer, we didn't know you were here. That was the point, said Tank. Retirement doesn't mean stopping service. Just changing how you serve. Paramedics arrived, checked the injured robber. The other two were handcuffed. Customers began standing up. They were still in shock. He's a police officer? Asked a woman. Was, said Tank. Now I'm just Tank, the greeter. But now no one saw him. As just a greeter, Detective Rodriguez, an old colleague, approached. Tank, why didn't you tell us you were working here? Because then you'd have made a fuss. I like the quiet. But sir, with your experience, you could have any position in the department. Tank looked at the customers in the store. Children weren't crying anymore. Mothers had relaxed. This is where I belong, Rodriguez. These people are my community now. The team leader was curious. How did you know they were coming? Tank smiled. I didn't. But I knew they were trouble. The moment they parked. The rest was just reading the situation. The 30 seconds countdown? Educated guess based on response time and my call-in, plus a little psychological pressure. Customers slowly began dispersing. But first they came to Tank. Thank you, Tank. We had no idea. You saved us all. Tank listened to each one, humbly accepting their thanks. Store manager Kevin came over. He was young, nervous. Tank, I don't know what to say all these years. Nothing changes, Kevin. I'm still just Tank. But you're a hero. No, son. I'm a citizen doing his job. Same as every day. At 6 p.m. the shift ended. Tank took off his uniform, put on his regular clothes. As he left, the police perimeter was still there. Detective Rodriguez was waiting for him. Tank, we need to talk about security protocols. Now that we know you're here. No special treatment, Rodriguez. I'm retired, remember? After today, I'm thinking you should unretire. Tank stopped. Why? Because I stopped 3 amateurs? Because you did it alone, without backup, protecting civilians. Tank thought. I've had my time in the field. Now I have a different mission, which is making sure everyone who comes through that door feels safe. That's enough for me. The next morning, Tank came to work again. At 8 o'clock, just like always. But this time was different. Customers looked at him differently. There was respect now, recognition. Morning, Tank. How are you today, officer? Thank you again for yesterday. Tank greeted them all with a smile. At noon, a young police officer stopped by. Sir, I'm Officer Johnson. I just transferred here. Heard about what you did. Just doing my job, son. Sir, would you mind if I asked, why customer service? After SWAT command? Tank thought. You know what I learned in 20 years of police work? What's that, sir? The most important battles aren't the ones you fight. They're the ones you prevent. How? By building community. By knowing your people. By being there every day, making everyone feel safe and welcome. Johnson nodded, understanding. Every person who walks through that door, I know them. Mrs. Johnson with her 3 kids, her husband's deployed. Old Mr. Garcia lives alone. This is his only social contact. Teenager Sarah, parents are divorced, needs a stable adult figure. So you're still protecting and serving. Exactly. Just differently. That evening when he got home, Tank looked at his old SWAT photographs. Young, uniformed, serious. Good times, but finished times. Now, when he looked in the mirror, the person he saw was older, but more at peace. He was part of the community, not just its protector. Weeks later, a local TV crew came for an interview. Mr. Thompson, you're being called a hero. How does that feel? I'm not a hero. I'm a community member who happened to have useful skills. Don't you think your military and police background makes you special? Special? No? Prepared? Maybe. But the real heroes are the single mothers, the elder care workers, the teachers. People doing thankless jobs every day. Will you continue? Working as a greeter? Tank smiled. Until they don't want me anymore. 6 months later, SaveMark Management put up a plaque for Tank. Marcus Thompson, Community Guardian, 15 years of service. Tank didn't like it. Too much attention. But it was acceptable. The most important change was in the customers. Now they saw him not just as a greeter, but as a guardian. When they had problems, they came to him. They asked for advice. Tank was happy about this. This was real service. One day, his old SWAT partner Mike stopped by. Tank, I can't believe you've been here all this time. Why? Good job, good people, meaningful work. But after everything we did together, ... Mike, we saved lives by stopping bad guys. Here, I save lives by preventing bad situations. Both matter. You don't miss the action? Tank looked around at his store, his community. This is my action now, and I wouldn't trade it. Because Marcus Tank Thompson had understood, real heroism isn't about big moments. It's about showing up every day, caring for your community, and being ready when they need you. Sometimes the greatest strength is serving quietly. Sometimes the most important battles are won in a grocery store, ... and sometimes counting down 30 seconds is enough to save lives. Now I ask you, have you ever met someone like Tank Thompson? Someone who served quietly, emerging when needed? Tell us in the comments. And if this story moved you, subscribe. Because the stories of silent heroes deserve to be told.